Thank you, Dr. Guerin. Good evening, President Thompson, governing board members, Dr. Guerin, cabinet, and guests. This public hearing is called in order to present the second revision of the 24-25 annual budget. The need for the budget revision is based primarily on the final 100th day ADM, or average daily membership, registered on January 23rd, 2025, plus some other recalculations from ADE that affect the overall budget. And I would like to thank Ella Conroy, Director of Finance, for her contributions in this budget preparation, and she is in the audience tonight with us too. Thank you. So the slides I have tonight will present summaries of the changes in primarily capital and M&O, the largest budget factors. So this slide is a summary of maintenance and operations and the revisions. So the total budget for 2024-25 will be $46,754,209. The first factor that affects the budget change or increase this at this time is the change in the ADM. So the average daily membership changed 15.26. And there were two factors. We've lost one of them in the slide, but there are two factors. The weighted student count, Group A, so just regular ed students, actually went down by 17.75. And under the table, unfortunately, is the weighted student count, Group B. That actually increased. So the Group B students increased by 33. So is a summary increase of about 16 students, okay? So the student count impacts the revenue control limit. So the revenue control limit is basically the base support level of $513 times the number of students, the weighted students. So on your revision one, it was $36,644,000. The increase in students have turned that into $36,718,000. That's an increase of $73,000 for the revenue control limit. The district additional assistance is the amount state funds for capital, but you have the flexibility to move that amount. You can divide it between capital and M&O, or you can put it solely in either one of those categories. So the district additional assistance also has gone up by $50,000. That calculation is typically based on also some changes in ADM. The M&O override is based on your revenue control limit. You have a 15% M&O override, so you multiply your revenue control limit by 15%. And so your adopted budget was back in July 5.56, let's see. Sorry. 47,174,000. So the original M&O override was based on that original budget. You cannot actually technically raise the override during the course of the year above that original amount. So your original override in your adopted budget was, I think, $5,605,000. So with just the adjustments at this end of the year, it ends up at $5,507,000. And that again is just multiplied by the revenue control limit that is part of revision 2. The carry forward, there's no change in that from what was reported on the revision 1. There are some changes in free reduced lunch data and some district additional assistance student counts from 2024. So these are some recalculations ADE did with respect to ADM from 2024. Those are added into this revision of $260,000. And Prop 123 from the State Land Trust increased by $5,288. So you have a summary increase of M&O by $400,778 from what was presented in your revision 1 back in December. So any questions with respect to any of that? Okay. So the next page summarizes district additional assistance, which is capital or how much you also allocate to M&O. And this slide just shows changes, the amount changed from your budget revision 1. So there were allocations of $947,000 in your revision 1 from district additional assistance. We've dropped that to $902,000 because we've moved money from the capital side of DAA back over to M&O to increase some of your carry forward for next year. So DAA actually went up about $5,000, and then we moved about $45,000, and that kind of off this $50,000 increase from the prior slide. Your capital override, you have a 10% override, and that's also based on the revenue control limit. So you just multiply your revenue control limit by 10%, and you get $3,671,000, a slight increase of $7,000. Interest, that's been recalculated by ADE and the county treasurer from fiscal year 2024, has increased a little bit. It's gone up $32,000 from what was reported in the fall. And your carry forward has just increased a little, recalculated a bit. There's an additional $273,000 on the capital carry forward. So you began the year with about $10,614,000 in capital. Beginning of the year, you're ending up with, or your budget balance then that you can work with for this year is $15,293,000, an increase of about $267,000. So the healthy part of your capital primarily through your capital override and accumulating that as you work on funding your facilities and construction projects. Third slide just discusses classroom site fund, and this one's very easy. Unfortunately, numbers got juggled a bit, but there were no changes from what was reported in revision 1 to revision 2. There are no adjustments in the classroom site fund allocation. So that summarizes the main 3 categories. There were no significant changes in federal projects. Just the M&O, an increase in M&O, an increase in capital, and a pretty much a status quo in classroom site fund. And that concludes the numbers presentation, so I'll be glad to take any questions if you have any.
Thank you so much for that presentation. Are there any questions from the board? Mr. Holcomb.
You just have one other question. It looks like a very good budget report. Anything that you saw as you're going through this that gives you any concern or, brought questions in your own mind?
No, I don't have.
Since you're coming in new.
Certainly. Nothing is a concern. I just looking at past budgets, it looks like you'll probably carry forward about that another $1.5 million has been kind of what I've seen the last couple of years. So very healthy on the capital side, although I know you have very significant capital projects to do as you blend your bond and capital funding. But no, I don't see any significant concerns. And when we prepare the proposed and adopted for next year, the number one driving factor will be ADM or projected ADM, because we're working on current year funding. So when Ms. Conroy and I work on that budget, I always try to be fairly conservative in ADM because you can increase your budget during the year, but it's hard to come back and reduce it. Mm-hmm. So we'll just be looking at your attendance trends, ADM trends, take each grade level, move them forward, estimate your kindergarten, and with the additional 2%, the per pupil level this year was, I think, 5,013. Hopefully the legislature comes through with a 2% minimum increase. And if your enrollment is fairly steady, you should see about the same amount of money or perhaps a little more. It all depends on your enrollment. But we do predict a carry forward into next year of about $1.5 million.
Thank you.
Other questions? Just very briefly, could you give a very brief explanation of the difference between Group A students and Group B students?
Certainly. Group A students are regular ed students. Your Group B students, there's a lot of categories in the special ed category, but all the students that fall under special ed, there's also K-3 students as a whole, just a cluster, are part of Group B. ELL students, free reduced lunch students, gifted, they all fall under the Group B. They're all weighted differently, though. Some of the more severely disabled special education students get heavier weights. So you take that 5,000 and you multiply that by a weighting factor. Some, like learning disability students, have a very small weighting factor. I think it's just slightly over 1 point something. Whereas some of the, autistic, self-contained autistic or other more severe disabilities, they could be weighted at 2 to 3 times more of that 5,000 base support level. So,
Thank you. Yes,
I
go
did
ahead.
notice, I don't have a question, but I'm glad you asked that because I was noticing that the Group A seems to be going down while our Group Bs are increasing. And of course, because public schools take everyone, and that makes sense, but I did notice that difference there. So thank you for that.
well,
question.
it is an interesting, the 3 Group B categories for which influenced that Group B increase, free reduced lunch, they increased gifted also, however, was part of the Group B increase. And the other largest increase was in the multiple disabilities, autistic and severe intellectual disability, both resource and self-contained. Those are the groups that had the biggest significant increase from your revised budget data, your December budget data.
Wonderful, thank you for that. No other questions from the board? Ms. Humphrey, do we have any public comments?
We have no public comments.
Okay, hearing no public comments, I will take a motion to, do I need a motion to a public hearing? No, I don't. I can just adjourn the public hearing. Boss lady. Okay. I call this meeting of the Madison School Board to order. Ms. Humphrey, can you call the roll, please?
President Thompson,
Present?
Vice President Kazi, Member Hunt. Here. Member Gresham,
Here.
Member Holcomb.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. First item on the agenda is adoption of the agenda.
I move to adopt the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Holcomb, seconded by Ms. Gresham, excuse me. Please vote.
Technology is very happy with us today. Might we do a voice vote?
Let's do a voice vote. All those in favor of adopting the agenda as presented, please vote aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Pledge of Allegiance. Let's have Principal Merrill lead us. You made eye contact. Thank you, Principal Merrill. Is there any need for an executive session today? Hearing none, we'll move on to item number 5, communications and announcements. Dr. Guerin.
President Thompson, members of the board, cabinet, and guests, I'm very excited to have Miss Anna Andrews come to the podium for the last time this school year, I think, for awards. You love spending your Tuesday nights with us, Miss Andrews.
Association and Madison administration to recognize the certified and classified staff who truly demonstrate Madison's vision of inspiring passion for learning and leading in an ever-changing world. All right, our first You Make the Difference Award recipient is Andrea Mateen. Andrea inspires others through her unwavering passion for literacy education and her commitment to supporting teachers and students. She leads by example, demonstrating best practices in literacy instruction and ensuring that teachers feel empowered and confident in their ability to help students succeed. Whether through modeling lessons, leading professional development, or mentoring new to Madison teachers, Andrea's dedication encourages educators to strive for excellence, motivating them to continuously improve their instructional strategies for the benefit of their students. Andrea Mateen goes above and beyond by coordinating district-wide initiatives like the Letters Training Program, ensuring all eligible teachers complete their requirements while also serving as a certified letters trainer. Her organizational skills shine as she manages various initiatives, including the District Spelling Bee, which enhances student and family engagement. Through her ability to drive instructional innovation and balance multiple responsibilities with compassion, Andrea has transformed literacy instruction in our district and positively influenced countless educators and students. Andrea demonstrates genuine respect and care for teachers, students, and administrators by always making herself available to offer guidance, support, and encouragement. She listens attentively to teachers' needs and concerns, ensuring that they feel heard and valued. Andrea has a deep commitment to both teacher success and student outcomes. She understands the challenges educators face and goes out of her way to provide resources, training, and hands-on support when needed, as well as work behind the scenes to ensure programs run smoothly. Andrea is deeply invested in improving the professional effectiveness of herself and all educators within the district. She consistently introduces and implements new literacy programs in K-3 classrooms, equipping teachers with research-based strategies to enhance their instruction. In the past year, she took this commitment even further by becoming a certified letters trainer to ensure that teachers have access to in-person training that is impactful for student learning. Andrea Mateen is the embodiment of a dedicated, inspiring, and selfless educator who works tirelessly to support teachers, improve literacy instruction, and ultimately impact student success. Her contributions align perfectly with the district's mission and strategic goals, making her an ideal candidate for the You Make a Difference Award.
Come to.
Oh, come on. Congratulations. Congratulations. You got a vibe. Oh, I didn't get a hug. Can I get a hug? Oh, when I get
Oh, you can get by yourself.
So, do you want to say anything? Thank you. Thank you to my team, my old team. Madison's been family for 12 years now, and it's going to continue to be family because I have a kindergartner here, and so I'll be here as long as you guys have me. So, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And our Shining Star Award recipient was unable to be here tonight, but we are still going to recognize her and read her speech. And just to let you guys know, she said she is very grateful, very thankful, and appreciates being recognized. And this is for Val Gear. Val Gear is the epitome of a person who strives for excellence. On a daily basis, one will hear phrases such as, Val will know, or let's ask Val. She is always available to help or find the answers. No one is ever turned away or turned down. Val's entire focus is on doing whatever she can to help the district by assisting others. Not only is she known for being the queen of textbook ordering and furniture buying, she is the district mover. At the completion of each school rebuild, Val gives up her fall, winter, and spring breaks to move teachers into their new classrooms. Perhaps she is best known for her sense of humor. She tells outlandish stories with a very serious tone, has you believing it's true, and then she starts laughing. Val does not like the spotlight and would rather work quietly away, but she truly deserves it. She has a positive can-do attitude and believes it is her job to serve the district. Madison is truly fortunate, and it is our honor to recommend Val for the Shining Star Award.
Thank you. For those who have nothing else to hang around for the agenda, please don't feel like you have to stay. Next item on the agenda is Superintendent's Report. Dr. Guerin.
President Thompson, members of Governing Board, Cabinet, and guests, happy Staff Teacher Appreciation Week. I would like to take a moment to extend a heartfelt thank you to each and every one of our incredible employees for the work that they do day in and day out. Their dedication, passion, and hard work make our district a truly wonderful place to learn and grow for every student. We appreciate you more than words can express, and I know we all want to celebrate you this week. I hope each of you enjoyed the cookies from Uncle Biff and all the special things that were planned from each PTO, PTA, all of the partnerships that we have throughout our district. We're really grateful. Truly a heartfelt thanks to all the parents and community members who helped our staff feel special this week. And the thing we appreciate the most, though, is the messages of appreciation. Those individual messages mean so much. I want to give a special welcome to incoming Assistant Superintendent Scott Thompson, who's in the audience tonight. Mr. Thompson is the current Assistant Superintendent of Business and Support Services in the Mesa Unified School District and will begin his new role on July 1st. He comes to us with a wealth of experience and is known for his leadership and expertise throughout the state of Arizona. We feel so lucky to welcome him to our district. Welcome to Madison, Scott. I would also like to welcome some special guests in the audience tonight. I believe we have representatives from the Arizona Diamondbacks Foundation, the Rams organization, Orcutt Winslow, and Chase. So you might be meeting some of these folks as we continue through the agenda. On the consent agenda tonight, we are seeking the board's approval for an additional 0.5% increase for employee compensation. This recommended increase is a result of cost savings through negotiations with our healthcare provider. The savings to the district allows us to increase employee raises from 2.5% to 3%, pending your approval. So we wish it was more, but any increase, we'll take it. Thanks to Molly Dodd, who's also in the audience tonight, and the Foundation for planning and hosting an absolutely incredible fun-filled gala. Your hard work, dedication, and incredible creativity and party planning skills made the event a huge success and helped fund countless programs, teacher grants, and support for students. Thanks to the Center for the Arts for their support and hosting of this important event. I think it just gets better and better every year, and I look forward to it every year. Thank you to Jackie Guin and her team for organizing our annual recognition event, which will take place at the Madison Center for the Arts on May 13th at 5 p.m. This event honors district award recipients, retirees, athletes, and scholar athletes. It is parent survey time again, and we are having a little bit of technology glitches with some of the survey links going into the spam folders of, that email. So we're sending out information to really encourage parents, if they don't see it in their email, to contact us or to check their spam folder, because we really, really need your feedback. It's so important to our planning. Our schools, our principals, and some key staff members meet throughout the summer reviewing your feedback to move our process forward. So please definitely look for that. I want to congratulate Camel View on being named a 24-25 Project Lead the Way Distinguished Launch School, which means they knocked it out of the park the first year. We're excited and honored to recognize the work of the staff and the students in this successful launch, and they're going to get another Project Lead the Way banner to go with the other flag banner one thing that they already have, so Mr. Smith is really excited about that. By the way, speaking of STEAM, don't miss STEAM Night at Madison Park on May 7th and Madison Camel View on May 15th. May 19th is a week filled with celebrating our 8th grade students as they promote to high school, and it is fast approaching. A sincere congratulations to our amazing 8th grade students as they take the next step in their journey of learning and leading in an ever-changing world, and we feel so lucky to have had them in Madison.
Thank you, Dr. Guerin. I'll start with Ms. Gresham today.
Okay, thank you. Oh, let's see. It is May, so there's always a ton going on, and we always do this every year. We like to cram everything in at the end. I do want to wish all the teachers and staff a happy Teacher Appreciation Week. Our PTOs and everyone work really hard to make sure our teachers are loved on. I will be at the high school tomorrow serving lunch to my own kids' teachers. So I love doing that. And I want to welcome Mr. Thompson. Thank you for joining us. And we are up here eating having milk and cookies because you're to welcome you here. So thank you for that. That is why we have these, by the way. Let's see. I was at last week. I went to an amazing. It was for a symphony concert, but it was like a rock version because one of the people from the Trans-Siberian Orchestra was there. They're like the Christmas people, music. And so the #1 orchestra and the Shadow Mountain High School Orchestra got to play with him at their school. So I got to check that out. It was awesome, and they're gonna bring it back next year. And it was thanks to some grants from the Education Foundation and from a couple of our PTOs as well. So I hope the students had an amazing time. It was really cool to watch, and kudos to those teachers for pulling that together. I also went to the Heights. They had Ballet Folklorico come into the school. The kids were really into it. They loved it. They were cheering and singing and dancing. That was also awesome. And we went to, I brought this with me because I didn't want to forget what it's called. So School Connect had the Champions of Education Awards. And we had Miss DeFay, our teacher at Park, was honored. She was a finalist. So we got to go see her get her awards. So congratulations to her. Let's see. The gala was wonderful. We had their PTO luncheon yesterday, the last one of the year. So thank you to all our PTOs because they worked really hard all year long. I will be going to STEAM Night at Park tomorrow. I'm excited for that. I can't wait to go. I want to see the Stomp. They're awesome. And I also, Dr. Guerin mentioned the survey, so I will also put out a plea to complete, any parents listening, to complete that, because we do actually look at it. The board members look at it, all the schools, and even sometimes the board members request some things to put on there because we want to get, we want to gauge what our families are thinking. So definitely fill that out. And I think the last thing I did want to bring up is there was an issue that was brought to my attention. I'm not going to get into details, but I just want to make clear that the district and myself as a board member we will not tolerate any bullying, racial slurs, any of that at any of our schools. And so I will be continuing to monitor and follow up with that. And I just want to put that out there that it will not be accepted in Madison. So we are aware of that, and we will be taking care of it. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hunt.
Well, first, to Mr. Thompson, welcome. Really looking forward to working with you. We've had a great legacy in Madison of really being fiscally responsible and taking that seriously, and really excited to get to work with you as we continue those efforts. I want to say to those who I got to visit over the last couple of weeks with Dr. Guerin, I've been busy on the road seeing all of the schools as a new board member, and got to go to Madison #1, Park, Rose Lane, and Madison Highland Park, Highland Prep, and just really incredibly impressed. I can tell you you, as a father with kids in district, every school I go to, I say like, oh gosh, this is amazing. Like, I wish I could have my kids at both schools, right? We love our schools that we're at, but every school I go to, I'm like, wow, this program too. The level of commitment by the administrators, the teachers, the bus drivers, the folks that are working in the cafeteria, just really impressive to a T. To every single place that we've been. So thanks so much to the schools for hosting me. I'll be this week with my final two, with Dr. Guerin going to Camel View and Heights. So those will be our last two visits. On those visits, one of the things I've been really excited to see, and at my own kids' schools, are the SROs. I think that's been really impressive to see their presence, their ability to interact with kids on campus. I think that is such a positive two-way education for the students to have positive interaction with law enforcement, and for law enforcement to have positive interaction with young people. And so I really have been very, very happy to see that happening on campus. To our sports teams that finished up their spring season, congratulations, and in particular to the Meadows baseball team. We played against them, MTA, and I could just say they're really good, and so they won the championship. And I don't know that there will be a varsity team that is ever better than that team was. They're really, really good. So congratulations to them on their win, and to all of the athletes who took the time to go out and put themselves out there, to make themselves vulnerable and get on the field or the track or whatever it else is that they were doing, learning integrity, selflessness, respect, responsibility, all the things we learn by going out and mixing it up. So great job to them. And then finally, to Madison Education Foundation, great event. I'll be completely honest, when my wife and I were getting ready, I was like, we'll go, we'll say hi, we'll shake some hands, and then we'll go to dinner somewhere. And we stayed all night. It was a great event, seeing all the way from teachers, community members, former administrators, current administrators, school board members, all there supporting it, sticking around. You did a really incredible job. Thank you for your service to Madison. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Holcomb.
Thank you. Yes, and the gala once again was wonderful. Nothing better in an elementary school than having drinks and gambling. But and it was a lot of fun. I brought some new people there who came as part of my table, and they had such a wonderful time. They bought something, a silent auction, and they came and said, we're buying our own tickets next year because this is coming, so we can keep expanding it that way. I did have one recommendation from my adult daughter who was there, said you need to have mocktails because they tasted really good, and she was feeling it after. But mocktails was her recommendation because they were very interesting. I wanted to mention we had the PTO luncheon yesterday. It's always great to get together with those parent leaders at all the schools as well as the administrators. Getting ready for the summer and next year. A lot of people have their officers in place and putting that together. Can't thank enough those parents who are willing to put themselves out there to be part of those organizations that just make the schools run. And it's always great to see the cooperation and collaboration among the PTO members. I did get the chance, I don't think I mentioned this, this was since the last time, to go to Rose Lane and see the student talent show. It was just phenomenal, and it really underscored the fact that when we made the decision to make Rose Lane a integrated visual and performing arts school, we made the right decision. Those kids were it was phenomenal. Walking in the door first and seeing a elementary school kid playing ragtime, and then hearing them sing. And the singing was impressive, but what was the most impressive to me was the feeling of the support that they got from the audience. Everyone, it was phenomenal. And I also got to go to, let's see, the gala. I heard I didn't get the chance to go to the mariachi last night, and I was going to go this morning, but I had a conflict. Then we had the mariachi orchestra in again, which I heard was just phenomenal. And they also then put on a performance for the kids this morning, which I heard also was great. Being able to expose our kids to that type of music and a cultural difference is great. And I also had the opportunity over the weekend to be at the Madison for the Barbershop Harmony Society competition. And that is going to become, I think, a great partnership. Not only is the Madison a great facility, but the thing that I was told by the organizers of it, I worked with them, they said working with the staff and the people at the Madison, they said it was the best they ever had. It's just phenomenal. They would like to be they would like to have that partnership here for another decade. They want to keep coming back. And we were able to offer free tickets to all the staff and students in in Madison and a number of other schools. There was even a high school quartet and one from ASU that competed. And I can't help saying it. I was in a chorus that won the championship there, and it was the first men and women mixed chorus to ever win a championship at the Arizona division, and in fact in the whole far west district of the United States. So it was quite an event. And I think that's all I've got. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Holcomb. Well, I think every board member and the superintendent covered almost everything on my list, so I will try and go through quickly. Welcome, Mr. Thompson. Absolutely no relation, even though I grew up on that side of town and went to Mesa Public Schools. Look forward to working with you. Congratulations again to Camelview and the excellent work they've done to implement Project Lead the Way. Congratulations on the gala. It was such a fun event, and I swear, even though this is the second time I've won the raffle in a row, yes, twice. So I'm buying tickets next year. Also want to congratulate Ms. DeFay on being recognized by School Connect as a also already mentioned, but I want to read what her award that she was nominated, what the description of it is, because while she was a finalist and not ultimately the winner in School Connect size, I think we can all agree that she is our hero maker in the Madison district. It says, this teacher has built trust, modeled resilience, and cultivated leadership in others to influence not only their classroom, but parents, other teachers, and even outside community members, thus stimulating hope and inspiring courageous leadership for the future. I think that's not only Ms. DeFay, but it's so many of our educators and staff in this district. And I just want to thank everybody in this Teacher Appreciation Week for all that they do. The PTO luncheon that we had yesterday, right, was great. Thank you for all the work that our PTOs do every day in support of our schools. I'm looking forward next week to attend the district awards, where we will recognize community members, our staff, students, the teams that have done well during the year, and also the scholar athletes teams. So those are teams whose average GPA is 3.8 or higher. And then individual students will be recognized in their fourth quarter ceremonies at their own school in those recognitions. So I want to recognize all those students who've made honor roll while doing clubs and activities on campus, who've made honor roll while doing clubs and activities off campus, and just all that our students do every week and every day to stay engaged. Also, we've just got a few more weeks of school, and I know we've got just a couple more schools doing MAP testing this week, wrapping that up. So thanks everyone for leaning in on that, and I think that was everything I had on my list. Next item on the agenda is approval of the consent agenda. If no one has any items to remove, can I please have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Gresham, seconded by Mr. Hunt. Please vote if the computer wants us to. Gonna see if the computer likes us. There we go. Motion passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda is call to the public. Pursuant to board policy, time has been set aside for call to the public. This is an opportunity for individuals to address the entire board in a public setting to express their views or concerns. State law limits our ability to respond to comments made during call to the public. However, we hear your remarks and ask the superintendent to follow up and provide us with information regarding any issues that are raised. To keep us on schedule, each speaker has no more than 3 minutes. I know Ms. Humphries, you mentioned there were no online calls to the public today. Are there any present here today for call to the public?
We have no calls to public.
There are no calls to the public today. Next items on the agenda, action items. Item 8.1, revised budget number 2, Dr. Guerin.
President Thompson, members of the board, cabinet, and guests, I'd like to hand it back over to Dr. Allen. We'll seek your approval of the revised budget.
Yes, if there are any questions, I recommend the governing board approves the 24-25 revised budget as presented.
Thank you, Dr. Allen. We just literally a half hour, 45 minutes ago, had our public hearing regarding this revised budget. Are there any other questions from the board? Seeing none, is there a motion to adopt the revised budget number 2 as presented?
So moved.
I will second.
Motion made by Mr. Holcomb, seconded by Ms. Gresham. Please vote.
I will explain my vote that it's pending that there have been no changes from about 15 minutes ago.
Motion passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda, Simus Field renovation. Dr. Guerin.
President Thompson, members of the board, cabinet, and guests, this is a very exciting item, and I'm again going to pass it over to Dr. Rob Allen to introduce it.
Thank you, Dr. Guerin. Madam President, members of the board, cabinet, and guests. Some time ago, the Arizona Diamondbacks Foundation contacted Madison School District with a proposal to renovate one of the ball fields or ball field areas at Simus Elementary School. And I'm going to introduce Mr. Kyle Mateo, Director of Maintenance and Transportation, who will provide an update and information related to this item. So, Kyle Mateo.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Guerin, Cabinet. I'm excited that we're near the end of the school year, nervous because so many of the projects that I have to see happen in the summer, but this is one of the more exciting ones. As he said, the Diamondbacks reached out and wanted to donate a field renovation. Really, the donation is more for Rams, and then Rams playing here chose us for it. And so you can see in the slideshow the field that we're talking about is the one closest to the parking lot, closest to the basketball courts on the south end of the campus there. And so I'm just going to briefly introduce the project, talk a little bit about the less exciting stuff, and then I will introduce, we've got two people here from the Diamondbacks to actually talk about the plans for it. That would be Jeff Jacobs and Amy Lynn Pierce, also supported by Adam Stoder from Rams and Lindsay Murray from Simus, in case anyone has any questions. So the donation is really for Rams, and I'll let them speak more about it, but they've chosen Rams as the recipient of their donation to support the Little League program, and then Rams playing primarily at Simus obviously chose one of the Simus fields to be the one that they would work on. And so this is going to require a memorandum of understanding between the district and the Diamondbacks. It's going to have a couple components to it, and you'll be asked to approve the district entering into that memorandum tonight as well. The requirements of us are not, they're not terribly complicated. Requires us to maintain the field. Obviously, they want to make the donation, and they want to make sure that we're going to care for it. The care that it requires shouldn't be any greater than what we're currently doing for the fields to take care of them. So I don't foresee any great additional costs, although they will make more improvements that we don't have, so there could be down the road. Because the donation is intended to support Rams, we have to preserve access to that field for Rams. I can't imagine anyone would try and encourage us otherwise, but Rams still has to have the access to it. And then the Diamondbacks will also have naming of the field. Their logo and the APS logo will also be on there. and that's because APS is donating a portion of it, including putting up ball field lights for it. And so the major features, and again, I'll let them talk more about the details, but the district already has lighting for the baseball fields over there, Musco LED lighting, and so they're going to add on to the lighting that we've got. This is the one baseball field at Simus that is not lit, and so they'll be adding lighting on. There'll be a scoreboard. They have a rendering that they can show you in here as well. They'll be adding outfield fencing. They'll be doing infield clay, any work to the grass that's needed, and sprinklers as well, and some other minor things to support it. But that's the bulk of what they're going to do. They're basically going to bring it up a notch to give Rams a really nice field for the kids to play on. And so, just where we are in the process, it started pretty recently. Adam notified me that the Diamondbacks wanted to do this and put us in touch with one another. So we got together on March 20th. And then shortly thereafter, we put together a naming committee because we have to ask the board to approve the naming of the field in support of the Diamondbacks player that they want it to be named for. And so we got together a committee, myself, Lindsay Murray, John Renward, the district athletic director, was on it, Adam Stoiter, as I said. We had Seda Gilbert from Pats, and she's also in the neighborhood, so she was able to offer that perspective. Hillary Falgiano was also there from Pats. And as a group, we all recommended accepting the naming that the Diamondbacks want to put on this. And that name will, again, they'll show you in the rendering, but it will appear on the scoreboard. And so after that, Lindsay and I went out to the neighborhood. We identified the homes that are directly adjacent to that field that would be impacted by any construction or the additional play that Rams will have there. We went door to door, chatted with the people that answered the door, and then left letters for everyone, letting them know what we're doing, letting them know that this would be coming before the board today. Unless Lindsay has anything I'm not aware of, no neighbors have come back to object to it, so it was a productive thing. And so we did that on April 25th. And then tonight, you've already in the consent agenda approved the donation form is in there. And so then we'll need to approve the memorandum of understanding between the district and the Diamondbacks for it. And with that, unless anyone has questions on that part for me, I would like to introduce Jeff Jacobs and Amy Lynn Pierce from the Diamondbacks.
Yes, go ahead.
Just a quick comment. I just want to thank you for reaching out to the neighbors. I was going to ask and make sure that I know Dr. Guerin mentioned it, but so appreciate that we are being conscious of our neighbors there. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, it was exciting. One of the neighbors that answered the door, he grew up in the area. He went to Simus. He was he played in Rams, didn't he? I think, and he's sometimes you get nervous that people are not going to be as excited as we are for this wonderful field renovation. And he recognized that, construction can bring some challenges, and sometimes there's people on the other side of your fence that you don't really want to be hanging out over there. But he said one of the things he really liked was hearing the kids out there playing and hearing the crack of the ball against the bat when the kids play. So it's really exciting to hear that feedback and that support that neighbors are invested in, lifelong neighbors, people that grew up in the neighborhood that went to the school and their supporters. So that's really awesome. I'll turn it over to Amy Lynn and Jeff. You can just sit down on the arrow key to go through your slideshow. Your slides are next.
Well, thank you so much for having us. I am Amy Lynn Pierce, Vice President of Government Affairs for the Diamondbacks. We're excited to be here. We're excited to talk about this project. I will quickly talk a little bit about the Diamondbacks. Hopefully you're all very familiar. We are in season. It's about to be first pitch, so we don't want to keep anybody longer than we have to. We are regularly voted as a top workplace, and as a team player, I can attest that that is absolutely true. We are also really proud to be, for 16 years in a row, the most affordable fan experience in all of baseball. The most attendees in Arizona, I can't read that, 23 to 24, a team is on the rise, and we are extending our reach all over with spring training, Salt River Fields, and just really being committed to being in every community in the state of Arizona. Certainly we are down the street from you all right now, but we know that we have fans in Tucson and Yuma and Flagstaff and Window Rock and all over, and so we are very proud to have the A logo to represent the entire state. We have eclipsed $93 million in giving. I love talking about this. We are going to be fourth in all of baseball when this year we proudly announce $100 million in giving. As one of the newest teams in baseball, we are so proud to be able to say that we will be fourth to reach 100 million. I don't know what those other teams have been up to, but certainly not working as hard as we have been. And we appreciate opportunities to partner with folks like you and do really fun things like this. The Youth Jersey Program is one of the things that we really love to talk about. We have over 60,000 kids in jerseys, 118 Little Leagues we support around the state. Uniforms are the largest barrier to successful Little Leagues. They cost a lot of money. They can't always pass that on to the parents. And there are many, many Little Leagues in Arizona that just would not exist without our Youth Jersey Program. So we're extremely proud of that. Field building programs like this, we have 50 fields in the state. All over the state. We have recently dedicated a field in Snowflake. So we don't just stay in the metro area, we go out all over. We recognize what baseball does in the community, and we want to bring it to as many communities as possible. Grants, scholarships, DBAC School Challenge, I am sure that almost anybody in this room could probably, without thinking very hard, think about some way that the Diamondbacks have impacted an organization that they are affiliated with, and that's just something that we're really proud of and will continue to do, hopefully for another 27 years into the future as we are entering our 27th season. I'm going to let Jeff, or did you want me to talk about this part? Or you want to talk about it?
Happy to take over.
Okay, yeah, all right, then I'm going to hand it over, but I'll be here if anybody has any questions. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jeff Jacobs. I'm the Vice President of Project Management for the team. This project is near and dear to me, this program. I've been with the team. I'll have my 25th anniversary in a week from today, and I've been overseeing this program for all 25 years. So it's something that stayed with me because I am an Arizona native, and being able to give back to the communities around the state has been really important to me. So nearby, we've done a field in Paradise Valley School District, Alhambra, Creighton, so we've done some of your neighbors. And when this opportunity came up, we've been supporting Rams for a number of years with our Youth Jersey program. It was just a perfect fit when we were able to find this location. So really excited about that. As I kind of go through here, I'm going to show some just quick photos from some of our most recent fields, but they really are, I'm biased, but for the foundation perspective, this is by far, I think, the biggest impact that we do, and able to come out there and help all the different communities throughout the state. Amy Lynn talked about Snowflake. We're in Parker and Winslow and Douglas, and we really have gone everywhere. This will be in field number 46, which is pretty incredible when you think about the longevity of our team, which really hasn't been around that long to have done 46 fields in the community. So very proud of that. The one thing we do want to announce, or I guess let the group know today, is that our proposal is for this to be named after Ketel Marte, who is one of our most prominent players. Very excited for him to get the opportunity. I think just from my own perspective on seeing these through the years, our players don't really understand this program until they get out and go to the dedication ceremony. And over the years, we've seen players break down, become very emotional, realize where they've come from and what they're now able to give back to the community. So this really is a feel-good program. I think there's a lot of benefit, and we're excited to be here. And I think from that point, any questions you guys have for us, we're here to help. Kyle did a really good job of telling you kind of what the scope is, but we're pretty quick when we get out there and start moving. It's about a 6-week process on the construction. So we've got a team that's I've been working with for all 25 years, and they donate some of their services and time, but really their expertise, and they know how to come in and do the right thing and make the field in a great playing shape and leave it for those to maintain it with a lot of ease. So that's one of the primary factors of this. But it is a quick turn once we get started. That's kind of the nuts and bolts.
Thank you. Usually I ask all the board members if they want to ask a question first, but I'm going to take the prerogative of the chair since I have kids who just finished their Rams baseball season last night in a playoff game. My kids have had the privilege of playing on some of your older fields in the Phoenix area, and they are just beautiful, and I'm so excited that this is going to happen at one of our campuses. I know some of the Ram folks shared that Rams, the relationship between Rams and the Diamondbacks is one of the longest standing relationships. I have many of those jerseys in boxes at my house that maybe someday will become a blanket or something when they get bigger, but we're deeply appreciative of the work that you do here in our community, and that we're going to be the benefactor of that as well. Any board members have questions? Go ahead, Ms. Gresham.
I will just this isn't really a question, but I just want to make a quick comment that, and this is through the Rams. So I just want to point out, I guess, to those who may be listening that, so even though this field is at Simus, all our students the Rams is a community-wide organization, and so they will all have the opportunity to play on this field. And then also, we do have other fields. If there's, if you ever want to do another one, I'm sure we wouldn't mind. I'm just going to put that out there. But yeah, all our students will get to use this. So thank you.
Mr. Holcomb.
Yeah, no, I appreciate this. Our partnership with the Rams is hugely important to the district and the community, and I'm glad to see it expanding and with the Diamondbacks as well. And look forward to having that and even more partnership. I just have one technical question. Is that going to have Bob sod on it?
Not technically, no. We're going to work closely with Kyle and his group to try to figure out what they are using right now, and so we want to, like I said, we want to leave it in a situation where they can take care of it with the equipment they have and the things that they're familiar with. So it really is a coordination of everybody to make sure that it's what your particular group needs, and that's our perspective. We want to really leave something behind that's manageable for the group. Unfortunately not.
Mr. Hunt. Oh,
Well, my main question is about the bullpen, but no, I'm joking. Yeah.
In oil.
Okay, all right. We'll talk later. But actually, for Principal Murray, do you envision any kind of traffic flow issues based on the fencing or anything? Like, are there any things to contemplate there in the design?
In terms of the design and how it would work in school, we have lots of field space, which is wonderful. I know for Coach Fox, it'll be an adjustment to have the permanent fence up, but the benefits, I think, outweigh that, knowing that we have so many other field spaces.
Okay.
In terms of additional traffic in the neighborhood, that's what we're referring to. I don't think that would be a problem. And then it's just, we've been really grateful for the Diamondbacks communication and construction and the build and the lights being really focused on the field. I know those were the only concerns that got brought up by the neighbors. We were able to let them know that the new types of lighting is really focused on the field. So all of the concerns that Mr. DiMatteo worked through with Adam, we were able to resolve with Diamondbacks.
Okay, great. Yeah, and the fence was my main question, but if Coach Fox signed off, then we're good.
Coach Fox is going to be super excited to have a nice baseball.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, thank you.
seeing no more questions, is there a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Gresham, seconded by Mr. Hunt. Please vote.
I just want to clarify too, that vote, because I think it is required by policy, also approves the naming, the actual naming of the field. Is that correct?
I believe so, yes. Dr. Huron?
Yes, it's the memorandum of understanding, including the name. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Ms. Humphries, we still have the presentation up, so I can't tell if we voted. Oh, approved unanimously. Thank you very much. Item number 8.3, revised positions. Dr. Guerin.
President Thompson, members of the board, cabinet, and guests, we certainly have a packed agenda tonight. I wanted to highlight two positions tonight. The first position is a accounting specialist position, and what we are doing is adjusting the 3 accounting positions to create a tiered system, so there's an ability for us to have an entry-level position, an intermediate position, and advanced position. So the staffing shortage exists for all of us, so we're really hoping to be able to bring people in and train them and have a pathway for them to advance in our business services office. So that's a nice highlight. Another position is we have a position that reports to Kyle, and Jose has been absolutely incredible serving as an administrator under our director of maintenance and transportation. But after COVID and with the focus on emergency operations planning, this position has really evolved. And Jose and Kyle have really stepped up together to take our emergency operations plan to the next level. As Mr. Hunt mentioned, we've added our school safety officers. And so this position will change to a capital projects and safety coordinator position. So that will enable Jose or this position to be the coordinator and liaison for the grant for the school safety officers. He will also be the point person for our emergency response planning, the training. So really, because the position evolved, we wanted to update the job description to reflect all that we are asking of this very important position. So typically this would be on the consent agenda, but I just wanted to highlight these two positions.
Thank you, Dr. Guerin. Are there any questions?
I just have a comment, if I may. I really appreciate the thought that's being given to doing this. I think it may seem like a minor thing, but having those levels where people can advance within the organization and having titles that actually represent the job duties and qualifications is important. And I think it's part of what helps build the culture that we have. So I think this is a very good move. It may seem small, but I think continuing to do this will be important in the district.
Thank you, Mr. Holcomb. Seeing no more questions, can I have a motion to approve the item as presented?
So moved.
Second?
Motion made by Mr. Holcomb, seconded by Ms. Gresham. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Next on the agenda is information items. Item 9.1, bond update on Madison Rose Lane and the Meadows Gym. Dr. Guerin.
President Thompson, members of Governing Board, Cabinet, and guests. Yes, we have a lot of work happening throughout our district, and now it is Mr. Patrick Calvin's turn, Director of Construction Services. He's going to present a very exciting, beautiful Rose Lane update. I can't wait for you to see the renderings, and also an update on the Madison Meadows Gym construction project as well. And, I didn't forget about parks, additional classrooms. So he's very busy.
Lots going on, Patrick.
Yes, yes. Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Guerin, members of cabinet, and guests, tonight we don't only have one presentation for bond projects, we have two. We're going to start out, we have two guests tonight. We have Bibi Carbonneau from our district partner architect here to share the first presentation, and we also have support by Judd Dyer with McCarthy Building Team. Those are our two partners on both the Rose Lane and the Madison Meadows project. And we'd like to start. I'll have Bibi come up and share you the presentation on that. When she's done, I'll come back up and jump into a second presentation. But she's got all the exciting stuff, I think. Well, I have some
Great.
too. But.
Thank you.
So, Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Guerin, thank you so much for allowing us to present the design update on both projects. Like I've said before, I'm very fortunate and blessed to be able to be part of the Madison School District, not only as a parent, but as a community and also as a partnership with Orchid Winslow. Hopefully this PowerPoint presentation is up to date. We'll start with Madison Meadows Gymnasium renovation. We've been working really close with Patrick Calvin and his team and with McCarthy, who is also here representing this afternoon.
After I promised the beautiful renderings. So.
It's in the attachments for the board meeting, too. If you want to backdoor it. Yeah. Technology is not our friend today.
She is pulling from board docs.
We're working on the technology. It will show up. I know, I'm not singing.
So I think we might need to proceed without the presentation while they're trying to get it up and running.
Yes,
So,
of course.
okay, great. Thank you.
Yes, no problem. You can see it on your screen?
Yeah, we can see it on our screen.
Okay, well, maybe I can sort of cheat sheet on this side as I walk through it. Oh, that would be great. Thank you so much. Sorry for those on this side, but maybe you can get a little glimpse over here.
If you squint, you can see it on her screen.
So like I said, we want to talk about overall schedule for Meadows Gymnasium. We started with the redesign of it back in November of last year, with the design being developed all throughout the Christmas break. We have officially issued construction documents, and that was part of the GMP that got approved during the last governing board meeting. We are shooting to get a permit in hand because we had already obtained a permit a couple of years ago. So this is going to be a really easy transition for us to reinstate that permit. So we're hoping that by the end of this month, when McCarthy is getting ready to mobilize, we'll get that permit in hand. We have been working really close with Patrick Calvin and his team, and also Katie Clark, the school principal, to make sure that everybody is in alignment with the building construction. McCarthy has presented to everybody in the team, including the school, school safety, the fencing throughout the construction zone. We have been meeting in person on site to make sure that we keep the students safe while during construction. We are hoping that by January of next year, the gymnasium will be completed. So fingers crossed that everything goes well. We are planning a grand opening of the gym. We are not having a groundbreaking, but an opening that we're hopefully to get maybe the sun. So if someone is listening out there, we're hoping to get the sons to come and celebrate with us as a community. So as we move forward through the presentation on the site, you know, Madison Meadows, it has gone through several phases of construction. So this is the last puzzle of the piece that we're trying to accomplish here. The gymnasium has been sitting there for many years. We have identified things that need to be salvaged, right? But most of it will be demoed, and we will rebuild. It's a little bit out of order. So we'll look at the overall schedule, the site layout, but most important, the floor plan. As you can see in the floor plan, we have left the actual gymnasium shell. We are not touching the actual envelope in itself. We are doing re-roofing, but the interior portion is going to be completely renovated. From new bleachers, new acoustical treatments, new mechanical systems, new lighting, because my kids have played sports and I know how hard it is for coaches and to do those practices and games at night. The flooring will be refinished, new graphics throughout, so it's gonna look like a brand new gymnasium, not a renovation. We are maintaining, to keep costs down, we are maintaining the east and side portions of the gymnasium, but we are demoing the entire front portion that is that rounded entrance where the lockers are and coach offices are. Right, so we are going to demo and start with a fresh new multi-purpose room that will be used for cheerleaders, will be used for wrestling or any other group activities. It's basically a flexible space for these students. We will have new bathrooms on the east side that will be accessed from the site and from the interior. So maybe I can catch up through here. Thank you so much. Teamwork. So let me get you to the floor plan. So on the right side, we are renovating the existing restrooms that have been there for many years. We are turning them into community storage because, again, as community, we do need the storage. We're always there. The PTM needs this space. We have identified additional athletic storage, PE storage, and then on the south side, we are coming in and adding to the building brand new lockers for girls and boys. Inside those lockers, we will have offices for the coaches and their own restrooms within that space. We are maintaining entrances separate for boys and girls with a hallway on each side. Then the only difference that you'll see in the boys' locker is that we are going to provide a door from the outside. So the boys that are practicing on the field don't travel through a brand new gym flooring, right? So they'll have easy access. Again, working really close with Patrick and his team to make sure that we look at the safety portion of it, locating cameras, locating card readers, special hardware, et cetera, et cetera. Now, for the fun part is, what does that gym look like? I'm not sure if you all have been there, like I have almost every day, and looking. Yeah, see. What does the building look like? What the main entrance, if you're standing right by the cafeteria. This is the new entrance to the gymnasium, is going to have a concession stand that opens to the outside, but also from the inside of the lobby. So the clear story windows that you see, that's part of the lobby and the multi-purpose, bringing a lot of natural light, which is so important for our kids. It's going to have the identification of, I am a gymnasium. Right now, it's just a big building in the middle of the backside of the campus. So I am your gymnasium. Then on the other side of when parents are picking up and dropping off, we are refinishing the exterior facade. We're coming in with a eave system, white, bringing that red color that has been in our campus for many years. We want to respect the campus color, but also bringing it up to a brand new design. Home of the Rams, right? Maybe we can get the Suns to donate something just like the Diamondbacks donated to Simus, right? So another additional renderings that we have is of interior shots. We are keeping with school colors, black, red, gray, white. It's going to be throughout the graphics, acoustical panel, ceiling treatments, and as you're walking through that lobby, that's the trophy case that you see on the top left corner that will be displaying trophies, medals, etc. So we're very excited about Madison Meadows breaking ground literally as soon as the kids are released on the last day of school of May 21st. This is the last slide for Madison Meadows. Before I move to Rose Lane, I want to give a pause to see if you have any questions regarding this exciting renovation project.
Does anybody have any questions? As a parent who's spent a lot of hours in Rams games on the weekend in that gym, it's going to be really lovely.
Yes. It's just very exciting to see it from a parent perspective and also from an architect perspective.
Yeah.
I did want to comment on how realistic that girl's teenage girl.
Well, these girls, I have a girl, so it's pretty close there. All right, so moving on to Madison Rose Lane. Again, we'll go through the overall schedule, where we are, hitting those milestones, looking at the existing aerial, site, and floor plans, and then the concept that we presented, not last board meeting, but the previous one, where we talked about how we were working really hand in hand with the school. And then at the end, we'll present those renderings that everybody's eager to see. We started schematic design a while back ago with basically wrapping up with our zipper diagram. We showed that how we work hand in hand with the district, the community, with students, going through all of the programming with everyone involved. we hit the milestone of schematic design, and how does that look? We're continuing the coordination efforts with McCarthy, getting pricing updates, working really hand in hand with Patrick and his team. Then we just hit a big milestone, which is the design development. We are continuously meeting with the district to make sure that we capture the concept. We don't want to lose that concept. Rose Lane is something so important for the community, right? And we presented the concept that we are a performing arts school, and we want to make sure that we don't lose that as we move through the concept. Where you see the little arrow is phase 1 demo. We are starting literally a couple of days after last day of school at the end of this month with phase 1 demo. Remember, we are having multiple phases. There was a rumor during the gala I was here that the school was going to be ready in September. Let's clarify that. I wish it was like this, but no. This is going to take time and a lot of patience. It's just basically like having a baby, kind of forgetting, and then you get this beautiful brand new baby in your hands, right? So phase 1 demo is going to be the fields. We're going to start construction there. The solar panels will be demolished, and the existing building M, which is the only 2-story classroom building that sits on the southwest corner. We are going to proceed with construction documents. Those are being scheduled to be submitted by the end of July. Going through permitting, self-certification process, we provide that service in-house, so that should be pretty easy. And the phase 1 building construction will be for the 2-story classroom building that houses regular classrooms, specialty classrooms, administration, and the PE building. This will all be completed by summer of next year. So it's going to take 1 year to be able to build all of these classrooms, including kindergarten, where the building M is, so that way we can relocate the kids only once, right? We don't want to disturb the academic year because, again, that's always in the back of our mind. I put a little note at the bottom where we have phase 2A completion. That is basically the pre-K component that is going to come in and hug the kindergarten building, and that's going to be completed by March of 2027. It will be followed by more demo work, and then phase 2 completion will be the food commons, formerly known as cafeteria. We've learned to call it student commons because this is going to be a communal space for the community and for the students. It will also have the stage and playfields being completed by July of 2027. So as we move forward, the existing site, we have Rose Lane at the north end, 12th Street. We have several buildings that have been emerging up throughout the years. So we are going to start phase 1 construction, like I mentioned, on the fields. That's the only spot where we can start this process to be able to keep the kids in their own classrooms. So for the site, I made it a little bit colorful just because this is part of the concept. We want color, we want to be vibrant, so this is part of us when we present to the community that we are still adhering to that concept. Building A is the one that will house administration, regular classrooms, which is 1st through 4th grade, the library that you'll see in a little bit on the floor plan, music, strings, dance, art, all of those spaces, we will be having it built in as part of phase 1. Building B, that is basically one whole building, but portion of it on the west side, that's kindergarten. McCarthy will have the chance to come in later and attach the pre-K classroom building that will also have the MAC classroom in there. Building C is the food commons, where we have our main dining space, kitchen, and stage. And the stage will be designed to be open to both ends, to the interior and exterior, taking advantage of those wonderful months that we have really nice weather. Then building D is our PE building. Physical education is going to have one court, very similar to Simus, where Rams can practice, but also can have PE during the regular week. Then last and not least is Building E, which is the professional development and wellness building that is going to have instructional coaches spaces, a wellness room, and a fitness room, but also is going to have a large professional space very similar to this room where we have a divider, so that way you can have two trainings happening at the same time. And then the sport fields. We've been working hand in hand with our civil engineer to make sure that we meet those requirements for those great baseball players that will hit a home run. We have presented this to the community, and they are very excited to see Rose Lane. There were no concerns. The only concern was construction, and we are promising that we're going to make sure that construction noise is at a level. So just a quick perspective, what does it look like if I am flying on a drone, looking down to what these buildings is gonna look like. Now you see that we are putting all of our courtyards in the center that is going to have the main playgrounds for all of these kiddos from Rose Lane. Yes, of course. Yeah, so you see that little half circle on Building C? That's an amphitheater, and you kind of get a glimpse of a door behind it, and that is acting as a double door from the inside and outside. And also, the way that we have located these buildings, Building A, which is the main classroom building, is going to have a large learning staircase that faces the amphitheater. So that way you can have a large crowd sitting up on those steps looking down to the amphitheater. Yes, yes. And Meadows. Yeah, Meadows, we have that inside the cafeteria. Yeah.
And just one comment, having just toured last week, Roseanne, they have such incredible shade from the solar, which is being lost. And so just something I think for us to consider as we look forward, the need, I think, to try to find the ability to put more shade there. Obviously, the parking lot's a great place to put shade. You have folks standing out there in the morning taking kids at drop off, and that's brutal much of the year if you don't have shade. And then on campus, just the ability for kids to be out there on the playground in increasingly hot days. So just something for us to consider in the future.
Yes, and to answer the question about shade, we've been hearing about this, and Rose Lane is one of those campuses that are very fortunate to have every walkway covered, right? And that is one thing that when we place these buildings on site, we provide enough shade for playground, for gathering spaces, right? Cafeteria entrances to provide those shades. Also, I want to say that the playground area will also have the canopies just like the other Madison schools. So a quick glance of Building A. I won't go into too much detail here, but you can see where we have the blue areas. Those are our regular classrooms, first through fourth grade. We're looking at the first floor for Building A. On the northeast corner, we have the administration spaces. We have been, again, working really close with Patrick and Jose to make sure that we look at the security level of this campus. In the center, in the light blue, we have the library that will house an amazing tree house concept. We are working really close with Lori and Patrick. Today, actually, right before this meeting, we were meeting to make sure that we take them through that scenic route of 3D walkthrough through the building. Then on the yellow southeast portion, that is our music classroom. It's connected from the inside, but also from the outside for those kiddos that are coming in from the kindergarten building and pre-K. Second floor, we have a wonderful concept that was developed as a team internally, where we have a a walkway that connects all of them, all of these wings, from art that is on the northeast corner and dance. And the dance classroom will be able, there will be a large window that looks down into the library, just to make that concept of curiosity. Well, what's happening? As I'm touring the school, as a parent, a potential parent, you get glimpses. That is the dance room. That is the library looking down, right? We want to create that curiosity in kids also. So then on the south east corner, we have the strings also being accessed from the main hallway off of the south side. Pre-K, kindergarten, and MAC on the portion that runs north-south, that is going to be part of Phase 1 construction that will house kindergarten, self-contained, and all the other offices within this building. Then we will come in, and we have been working really close with Keisha to make sure that we address any needs for pre-K and MAC. So it will have 4 main pre-K classrooms and a MAC classroom, which is the one on the yellow. And we'll also have a secure lobby to it that will be accessed from the south side for those parents that are coming in to check in their child early, or when pre-K hours start, they will be able to access this through the secure lobby. Building C is our food commons and stage. It's a large commons area. We have been working hand in hand with McCarthy to maintain those square footages to make sure that we are doing a district standard. On the red side, that is the platform, which is basically our stage. We have steps going up, very similar to Simus, but the only difference here is that we have a large opening on the back that will be able to open to that amphitheater that you saw on that 3D image looking up in the aerial. The kitchen and services will be on the south side that has access to the yard, the kitchen yard. But also we have located restrooms that is on the west side of that building. You see those little boxes that say RR. Those are restrooms that we have located right across from the playground. Those little kids that are eager to get in the classroom because they have to go to the restroom, they no longer need to rush to that classroom. They will be able to access those restrooms. Then the kids in the cafeteria or kids playing in the field will have access to the restrooms that is on the east end.
Question, is that stage, you mentioned the Simus stage. Is that stage larger than the Simus stage?
Yes.
Because, yeah, the Simus, if we're going to have dance
Yes.
and that too, you need that additional space.
Yes. It is much larger than Simus.
Thank you.
Yes, because again, we are focused on an arts program with this particular campus. Building D, which is our physical education building, is going to have 1 court, basically, very similar to Simus, no bigger than that. But we are adding a little bit more restrooms than Simus. I've been there waiting my turn to get into the bathroom, so we are expanding the restroom here on this building, and also we'll be able to use from the outside and close off the PE building. So after school hours, those parents or any community that is on site will be able to access those restrooms. And last but not least, our professional development wellness building. We're going to have a lobby, a lounge that will have a small kitchenette type. On the south end, where we have the professional learning community room, the dashed line represents the separation wall, just very similar to the one that we have here in this boardroom. The instructional coaches on the top left corner, and the wellness and fitness rooms that are right in front of the building. Again, we are putting restrooms to make sure that for any after school or during business hours, those are there for easy access. The concept, really quickly, this is something that we always forget when we are looking at the design. This is the design intent to create a design in elementary school that cultivates both visual and performing arts, right? So we provide these spaces, we provide curiosity by the design. As you can see, these little ballerinas out there, they'll be able to look down to the library, and the kiddos in the library will be able to look up. The connection with nature and creating those moments to be able to be outside when we have beautiful weather, we are making sure that the classroom building achieves that. And then on the bottom, where we have an outdoor performance space with a community gathering or outdoor classroom, right, connection. So this concept has been very, very upfront, and we are maintaining that design as we through construction documents. Last time we presented the experience mapping gallery. How do we talk about the concept without having the actual design in hand when we present to the community, to teachers, to students, right? To us, this is very important. So we're capturing all of these ideas, so we come in and merge them, kind of like a Pinterest board, right? Where we're creating these ideas and then we merge them and create this collage of images. So last time, we talked about the entrance, we talked about the artwork, the outdoor stage, color, in the cafeteria, making it friendly and open, outdoor spaces, and then the library, making sure that we carry that importance for the kids. The library space is one of their favorites. So we want to make sure that we make that such a fun space for them to spend their time there. So what does Madison Rose Lane look like when I'm dropping off my kiddo here? This is the drop-off zone. I am Rose Lane. So we will have signage identifying main entrances, because right now there's something missing in Rose Lane right now in our existing campus. There's no signage. Where do I go? Is this the admin? Is this the library? Is this the gymnasium? So you can see in these renderings, we have identified gymnasium, administration, and the name of our school. We are having covered canopy as a main entrance. Hopefully, as PTM moves with more funding, we can get those teachers some umbrellas, because yes, it is very hot during the summer months to be sitting out there and dispatching kids to be picked up. What does that stage outdoor amphitheater look like if I was a kiddo standing there? This is what it looks like. As you can see in the back, we have signage identifying, I am your music classroom, I am your library, and on the other side, we have dance. So we have these vibrant colors, but yet respecting the communities throughout when we are talking about materials. So you can see we are using a little bit of pop of color here and there, identifying main entrances. In the rendering, you can barely see, but at the top side, that's going to be a bold color that is going to be part of that material finish concept. And yeah, many opportunities to have a mariachi or a dance performance. And if there's no room at the ground level, you can sit in that learning step and have the perfect view to enjoy. Again, this is just looking into main entrances. If I was a kid being dropped off by bus, I will go in directly to the classroom or go to the left where the playground areas are. The food comments, what does it look like if I'm standing in the play area? We are capturing color in the glass. We are bringing a lot of natural light. That's something that the kiddos have been asking for, but also shade. So we are covering a lot of these main entrances. And again, signage, a big thing.
If I may, that's just an observation. That's where I've seen the most color on this for an art school. It's more subdued tones.
Yes, yeah.
I'm just wondering about that concept.
So the concept is going to be carried throughout the classroom. administration. Right now, we're very early to show any interior shots of the renderings because we are working hand in hand with Patrick and Lori to make sure that we capture that concept. So we will be presenting color and finishes, 2 options pretty soon here before we wrap up those construction documents. But it'll be colorful.
I'm heavily into chaos, so.
And just a quick glance at, again, more 3D renderings of the exterior. Are there any questions for us tonight?
Any questions from the board? Ms. Gresham?
Hello, thank you for all this wonderful information. First, I will just say that I'm sad about the solar panels, so I'm hoping someday all our campuses can get those back, maybe if the state changes their priorities or something. Okay, I have a couple questions. First, just maybe whoever wants to answer this, but how many students are at Rose Lane? Can you remind me? Anybody? About 600?
About 600 students.
Yeah, I was just curious how many are going to fit in these spaces. Can you also, so I'm looking at slide 13, but so the playground stuff is it all going to be right there in front of the commons and stuff? Or are there others?
Madam President and members of the board, so if we go back to this image where we show the site in 3D, if you were a drone, the playgrounds, all of them will be centrally located in that plaza that has the round shape just across from Building B, Building C, and behind Building A.
Okay, good, because I noticed it in the pictures, but I wasn't sure. And then will there be any others like separate for like pre-K or kinder or anything?
Madam President, members of the board, all of that will be together. Pre-K will have its own fenced-in play area that will be covered, and then the rest will be shared for kinder through 4th grade. Again, 4th graders tend to go play more in the outdoor basketball courts and also on the fields.
Okay, so the pre-K that's stage 2, right? So we'll add something for them in there. Thank you. I also this is kind of a weird question, but as a active volunteer on campuses where, especially during the school day, because we do not want the adults using the children's restrooms, I know I saw some like near the teacher's lounge and stuff, but just a comment, I guess, is to like kind of make sure there are adult restrooms around and not just sometimes it's only in the office or something. And if you're somewhere else on campus, you can't just leave and yeah, exactly. I mean, teachers usually have one that they can just like locked one, but yeah, just something to think about as far as like volunteers and stuff when we don't want them using the students' restrooms. It's something for them to
Madam
spread out
President,
around or something.
and members of the board, that was one thing that came out during the programming session to make sure that we have enough restrooms, not only by code, but also by need. Right, so we do have 2 staff restrooms, but also if I'm a parent and I'm just picking up, but I do have a child that needs to go into the restroom, there is going to be a restroom that can be accessed through that secure lobby, but they will not have access to the rest of the building. Then throughout this building, we have staff restrooms on both wings, north and south, that will mirror on the 2nd floor for those teachers that cannot run all the way to the administration.
Yeah, and hopefully volunteers and stuff can use those too.
Yes.
Sometimes that's tricky. Thank you. That's all I have.
Other questions? Okay, hearing no questions. This is an information item?
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you so much for your presentation today. We really appreciate it.
I did have one.
Never mind. Mr. Holcomb has a question.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Mr. Holcomb.
Just question, this is being done as a CM at risk, a construction manager at risk. And so that makes McCarthy part of the design team. I just want to bring up, because this is something that sometimes gets lost, that makes the contractor a part of the design team from the very early on. And this type of design and this level of having it put together already so far, while you're not by final construction, that's what makes this possible. I mean, there are people who question about whether that works or not, but my experience, and Patrick and you, Mr. Calvin, your experience too, I mean, that makes a huge difference, I think, in the end product that you get, both from a design and construction process.
And the speed at which the buildings
And the
get
speed, and absolutely, because you're doing the design, you're doing the value engineering and constructability at the same time you're doing the original design, and it cuts down on change orders. So you're promising there will be no change orders on this project, right? Yeah.
Unless you change something, and then there will be.
Unless we change something.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Go ahead, Patrick.
President, members of the board, Dr. Guerin, members of cabinet and guests, we're almost halfway there. I just wanted to add something to BB's and Orcott Winslow's presentation. I had the opportunity to kind of see a 3D model where you fly through the buildings. I got to tell you, that's beautiful what they showed, but when you see these classrooms, especially classrooms, doesn't matter if it's strings, band, music, arts, dance, those spaces are being designed for that program. There's elements of all these arts showing out throughout the campus. It can be in the concrete sidewalk, on the side of a building. So, Mr. Holcomb, you're worried about colors? We've got lots of great stuff coming on that. So, all right. So to get on with, I got a short little bit here. I'll make it quick. Just a bond update on the rest of the projects going on. Oops. All right, to start with safety and security, we're getting pretty close to getting a lot of the heavy stuff done here. I will say safety and security improvements, they are a fluid endeavor, meaning, we look at the latest conditions out there and the trends, and how can we incorporate those into what we're doing at Madison to make it as safe as we can and keep building on that. Mr. Jose Alameda, and we talked about him earlier, safety, security, we're looking at this constantly, but real quick, front office remodels with the bullet resistant film and all that, that's complete. Cameras across the district will be complete by July of this year. Card access by the end of the calendar year. Fencing by the end of the calendar year. Door hardware and window coverings are both essentially complete at this point. All right, next slide. I'm just going to talk about a little bit here. This is our MAC offices, our Madison Adventure Club after school. So we're also putting those improvements that we put in the front offices in all those lobbies, creating the secured lobbies, cameras, intercom, all the door hardware, everything. And those projects are starting right at the end of this school year. So late May, June, we're going to kick all these projects up. And that's at 5 sites or 6 sites across the district. All right, Madison Park Middle School. Now, we just recently completed the complete rebuild down there. We're putting a 6 classroom addition on the building. 3 of the classrooms are specialty rooms. They're science classrooms. It comes with collaboration space and all the collateral spaces, science prep, storage, a resource teacher's area. That starts, as soon as the school year ends. And it's our intention to have substantial completion right before winter recess and ready for the kids to start learning right after the first of the year. What is the kitchen? I'm sorry. All right. Playgrounds. We got 2 big playground remodels going on, one up at Heights and another one at Simus. We're taking them all the way down. The rubberized turf, the play equipment, and the fabric shades, they're all pretty much at the end of their life cycle right now. So we're adding inclusive special needs equipment, the rubberized play surface, and much more shade than they had before. So that's some really exciting stuff. And guess what? That's all I had tonight. So if you got any questions, I'm here.
Anyone have any questions?
I just had one. Any feedback yet from the security improvements, either from staff or parents?
Yeah, good question. Mr. Alameda would probably best answer that, but I know some things. As all new things, sometimes it takes a little bit getting used to with the glass instead of,
Yep.
this is us, this is going to the bank, this is whatever. But now there's a glass partition. But you know what? Everybody's really moved into it very nicely. I got to believe that our closed circuit, our CCTV system, our security cameras, has really helped us with a bunch of small incidences since they've been installed. All these elements, the card access, we're not giving out as many keys.
Yep.
So we're able to control that. We're able to send a contractor in for a specific job on a certain date, off hours, and then that stops working. So there's a lot of elements that we're using, and there's niceties to them. I think everybody's happy.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Patrick, for that update. We appreciate you.
Thank you all. Take care.
Next item on the agenda, ASBA political agenda process. Mr. Hunt, this one's yours.
Yes, thank you, Madam President, members of the board. Here we have a couple priorities for the 2026 political agenda to be considered by the ASBA Legislative Committee as well as the Delegate Assembly. Just for the public to understand the process here is that we as a board will be voting in an upcoming meeting on top 5 priorities for us to submit to the ASBA, Arizona School Board Association Legislative Committee for their approval. We need to submit those by June to them so they can consider those. They will then take those from the different school districts and they will present those at the Delegate Assembly in September, and the Delegate Assembly will vote on the priorities for the 2026 political agenda. So that's the process. We're in the very first stage of this process. And so we get to vote again at an upcoming meeting. Today we're just discussing this about what we think our top 5 priorities would be. These were drawn from previous priority that we have advanced in previous years, as well as some documents from ASBA that have some priorities on it, as well as just kind of an understanding of the current legislative environment, particularly as it relates to Prop 123. So I will stop there and love to hear any feedback or discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. Are there any questions? Mr. Holcomb?
No, and just, if you could outline a little bit of what modifications you made from our prior, because the 5 we've been doing, we've been having the same core ones for a while, and each year we try to either update them or try to make them better. These look very good, but I'm just curious about your input.
Absolutely. So kind of my thinking going into it, if you notice, you'll see that 1, 2, and 5 are retained from last year and actually the last 2 years that we've advanced, and that 3 and 4 are quite specific to the given moment at the legislature. And so 3 being really focused on the elements of ESAs and STOs and really transparency around where those funds are going. And then 4 being responsive to the fact that at least today, and I haven't tracked what happened today at the state capitol, but there is not yet a solution for Prop 123, which is a major issue.
Yeah, and on that one in particular, I appreciate your use of the word permanent, because that should be a permanent solution. They've fooled around with temporary ones for quite a while, and I think that's the key as well. Anything short of a permanent is not a solution.
Other questions or comments?
I guess I'll chime in. Thank you, Mr. Hunt, for doing this. And I wonder if maybe for number 4, we might have to put something saying like, without tying it to other, without having strings attached or something like that. Most people know what I'm referring to with that. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe you can word that. But
Sure.
I also, somehow I ended up on the ASBA committee before we go and do the delegate assembly. I ended up on that. So, and of course, I try to, I do my best to cheer for our, for ours, and most of them are included in the ASBA. I mean, it gets really wordy and way too long, so I think last year we did a good job of trying to cut it down, but there's always someone that wants to put something else in and all that. So, and remind me, you are the delegate?
Correct, yeah.
Main delegate?
I'm the delegate. Mr. Holcomb is the secondary
Perfect.
delegate.
Thank you. I think that's all I have.
Anybody else? Thanks for your work on this. I really appreciate it. I know it's a lift every year, and I think that these priorities make really clear what we think is important as a school district, especially to protect the funding for our students here. I think if we lived in a state where we were having a discussion about what it cost to provide anyone to go to any school that they wanted, we would have a different discussion, but the discussion is usually let's give money to everybody and we're not going to increase the size of the pie, and that becomes extraordinarily difficult to continue to provide the critical services. And I think to the point of the budget that we discussed earlier today, the budget revision, while we might be losing total number of students just ever so slightly, those students with greater needs that are more expensive, we are providing for. They have a greater weight. And when dollars are less available, it really, everyone suffers in the school district. So thanks for your work on this document. And I believe in the next board meeting in 2 weeks, we will see this on as an action item.
That's correct, President Thompson.
Okay. Next item, Madison Education Foundation update. Dr. Guerin, do you want to introduce Ms. Dodd?
Last but not least, Executive Director Molly Dodd.
And then all the board policies, but
You know, I really needed to make the meeting fun tonight.
Thank you, President Thompson, board members, and cabinet, and my mighty guests. I just want to tell you all the exciting things that the Madison Education Foundation has done this year. We're wrapping up our year, but it's been a really great year. When I started, we had, I think, 7 board members to start, and now we're up to 18 board members. 6 of them are liaisons from the school, which we value tremendously, getting their input from all the schools. So at the beginning of the year, we met with a consultant to go over our communications and marketing, and we decided that we needed to expand our mission, vision, and values this year. So our new mission this year is to advance opportunities that enrich educational excellence beyond traditional curriculum for the students of the Madison School District. With our new mission, we're hoping that we can really help incorporate all 8 of our schools, so we can really actually try to get more grant money too. So it's kind of a beneficial for both. MEF is a philanthropic partner of choice in support of educational excellence. So we want to be that foundation that everyone comes to get advice on how to become a foundation like ours. And then with our values, we had a lot of brainstorming committees, small groups, and we came up with, we did learn, so linking, which is valuing community partnerships, appreciating parent input, continuing social outreach, and expanding funding resources. And then we have E for encouraging curiosity, maintaining a creative mindset, encouraging divergent thinking, providing enriching experiences. And then accountability is recognizing the integrity of the process, remaining student-focused, instilling the recognition of excellence, encouraging reflective practices, and result-driven. And then we have respect, which is providing multicultural experiences, creating inclusive environments, and valuing diversity. And last, for our new ideas, we have fostering and embracing innovative teaching and learning, forward-thinking initiatives, and inspire future generations. So that's our goal from here on forward. So with that, this year, we have Art Masterpiece, which is our pillar program that we do. We have Leanne Spangler, who is one of our employees, part of the foundation. She is the coordinator. She coordinates 8 coordinators at each school. She does a training for all of our volunteers. Art Masterpiece is volunteer driven, so it takes a lot of manpower to do Art Masterpiece. It's a great program. It teaches art history along with the art at the younger ages, they really want to do the art. The older kids really like to learn the history of the artist. And then on April 11th, we had Night at the Madison Museum, which is a culmination of our Art Masterpiece program. All 8 of our schools had art represented. We also had traveling trunks from the Heard Museum, which featured Native American pottery and weaving. And then we also had a special performance from the park Stomp group. So they did a great job out on the patio playing some music for us. So it was a great night. It's a free event. It's open to our community. It's open to all of our students. We have food trucks. It's just a fun event. Lots of activities going on. Next, we do our arts and education teacher grants, which we are very proud of. We gave out over $15,000 this year. All 8 of our schools received a grant, some schools more than others, but each school did apply and received one. Our grants range from, we did Shrek the Musical, we helped support that. We helped with Regina Francis's art walk. We do, if you were at the gala, the students who took the pictures, we did their cameras. We do lots of different things. We try to really get those creative juices going. We've had science teachers apply who are bringing the arts into the science and English. The most recent one is the Monsters for You. The Simus kindergartners come in and they create monsters on paper, and they give it to the Meadow students who create the ceramics for it. And so just this past week, their monsters came back to them as ceramics, and they read them books, and so that was one that just got finished. So if you read From Paper to Clay, Your Monster Grew with Colors and Shapes. Oh, what a view, big or small, round or tall, the Imagine made it all from you. So it was a great project. It was really fun to see. It was nice that we could do it for both schools, and the kindergartners really loved it because they loved that their monsters came back. Some of their monsters didn't turn out quite. They had some problems, and so they got more than one monster, but they were just as happy. So we do a lot of great things. We really love, and we're hoping to keep on growing the arts and education teacher grants and to be able to give out more money. That's our goal. We also do the Musical Instrument Museum, the MIM. We provide this as a free field trip for our schools. We can send 1,600 students. This year we send right around 1,500, so we're right on that target. We provide the transportation, so it is completely free for our schools. All of our teachers are loving it. They're starting to send them to the arts and residency programs that they offer. So the MIM keeps on opening up more and more opportunities for us. And so we just only get positive input from that. Grants. The Madison Education Foundation received 2 grants this year. We did the Arizona Commission on the Arts for our Phoenix Sings program. We had 4 schools represented. We had 1 from Simus and then 3 from outside districts. Scott Holcomb was involved. We had the Southwest Vocal Alliance there. The students were able to come out. They had clinicians that helped them with their music. And then at the end, they did one big choral piece. So it was very nice. It was fun. The kids loved it. A lot of the kids from outside our district got on stage and they were like, oh my gosh. Like they were, just to see them in their eyes, and they, our kids were like, oh, we've been here before, they loved it. But the other kids they just loved it. So it was a really nice community event. And then we also have the Twyford Family Foundation. We received $20,000 from them, and this will go towards tap shoes, instruments. I reached out with Casey George. They really wanted to give to the schools this year, so he kind of went through signature programs and what were needed there, and so we will be filling those gaps. We had the Madison Matinees at the Madison Center for the Arts, so the mariachi was there today. Teddy over at the theater, if you have not worked with him, he does great things with the kids. He started this year kind of a Theater 101, so he took them around, toured them, showed them the sound, the sound box, the lights, all of the things, and so the kids really are starting to understand more about the theater. If you don't know, the matinees, when we bring shows in, they also do a small performance for the students that are like an hour long, and the students love it, and they think it's a great time, and just to watch them light up and be in there, it's great. We also have lots and lots, I'm sure you've all heard, activities happening at the theater with the Rose Lane Talent Show. We have our strings, we have all different types of things happening, so it really is a hub of learning for our students. Okay, the fundraising part. So this year we did our first ever trivia night. It raised $4,000. I am proud to say it is our first fall fundraiser that we've ever raised money. So usually we've been trying to find one. This was a great event. We had different sponsors show up. We had the transportation department buy a table, which they won. But it was a great event. We had food donated from local restaurants. It was just a really relaxed night, that everyone had fun, everyone wants to do it again next year, so if you're able to attend, it's going to be in September next year, we're moving it to, so be looking out for that. And last but not least, the set sail for Madison Gala, which was a huge success. I would like to thank all of our sponsors. We raised $85,000 in sponsorships this year. We sold 282 tickets last I saw. Silent auction was a huge success. We raised, I think, $2,000 more than last year. I think overall, our final numbers are not in, but we're going to be over $90,000 profit, which is a 22% increase from last year. So we're very, very proud of that. My board, I owe a lot to them. They helped me with the silent auction. I'm just really grateful for all their help and everyone's support here. And there you are at the SS Madison. One of our board members avoided the paparazzi.
I don't know, somehow I missed the entrance part, but I did do the one inside, so I will.
Yes, we have the photo booth ones
Yes,
too,
I
yes.
have the photo booth ones,
So
which were
this
very
was a
cool.
great one. We loved it that we had our Madison Meadow students out taking pictures. They had a blast. They were running around with their kitty cocktails and taking pictures. And some of the pictures they took, we have other ones. They're just funny, like of them posing. So it was just a great time. We were happy that they were able to help out and kind of volunteer their time to take pictures for us. So it was a great event, and until next year. Any questions for me?
Ms. Gresham.
Thank you. First, I want to know who won the bike at the auction, because I was
sister-in-law.
bidding. Was it really?
Yes.
I was bidding, and yes, I got outbid on that bike, but it was pretty cool. So next year.
Lori Garvey was also
was
bidding, yes.
Oh, I didn't even see her. So next year, 2 bikes. Let's see. No, other than that, I just wanted to say that I'm excited to, starting this summer, I will be the board representative for the foundation. So I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, I think that's it. So thank you for everything.
Other questions? Yes, Mr. Holcomb.
Not a question, just a comment. You've continued to take this to the next level. And we build on. We've got such a great foundation built. I mean, it's not a pun. I mean, they literally have foundation that we can keep looking. Okay, what works the best, and not just trying to and improving and bringing in the new ideas. So. I can't thank you enough. There were so many years when the foundation was on life support, and it is just you're killing it, and I really appreciate that.
I just want to say a couple quick things. First, I thought that the auction went so well. Having run a nonprofit and volunteered and run a silent auction before, first of all, bless you. Second of all, I know that it's so hard to get everybody out the door and everybody paid and collect all the sheets and all the things. But I thought that app worked fantastically. I had left to go home, sitting on my couch. I saw that I won. Since I live close enough, I'm like, I'm going back. So I came back and picked up my items. But I thought it was so easy to use, and really appreciate that. And then second of all, I love the new mission of the organization, because I think while arts are so incredibly important at each one of our schools, I think to have a broader mission really gets to the heart of who we are as a district and you all as a foundation. And I think it's wonderful that broadening of the mission. And I think it's only going to not only help the foundation to fundraise more, but also to help more students have access to those critical things that we might not be able to fund any other way. So thank you for all the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
I second that as well. I might have mentioned that to the consultants. So yes, because I believe the foundation, I think, was started during, when first they were just cutting the arts was the first thing to go. So we needed to support that. But now it's basically everything, let's face it. So yeah, I also appreciate that.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now that we're done with everybody in the audience, now we turn to everybody at the dais. And we're going to run through our gauntlet of first read of board policies. Dr. Guerin, would you like to introduce these and hand these off.
President Thompson, members of the board, cabinet, and guests, the most riveting part of the meeting. We are going to group these together. And all kidding aside, I really want to thank Ms. Marshall and Dr. Lomeli for doing heavy lifting on these policies. So Ms. Marshall's going to take the first few and then answer any questions. Again, this is an information item. It's just the first read. So Ms. Marshall.
Thank you, President Thompson, members of the board, and members of cabinet. The first four directly impact educational services, and so I'll go over those. The first one being the curriculum development, and I will share that all four of them are based in statute, and so this is policy catching up with statute, and current Madison practice is, of course, in line with the requirements. The first, there was a challenge by another district. Their policy from ASBA requires teachers to serve on curriculum committees. There is no statutory basis for this, and so they are removing that from policy. Madison will, of course, keep the practice of having teachers on our curriculum committees just to get that dynamic interaction and that feedback from the classroom level has been important. I think you saw that at the last board meeting when the Madison Heights teachers shared about the curriculum adoption. The Animals in Schools is in keeping with the Americans with Disabilities Act. We have no service animals currently in Madison, but this will require, if they are, that they be harnessed, and that's currently not been a requirement, and so that will keep up with statute. And then the last two go hand in hand. The Title IX sex discrimination falls right into the student concerns, complaints, and grievances if there is a Title IX complaint from a student. And the changes that were made under the Biden administration have been rescinded, and so we are reverting back to the policy that we had just a few years ago before those changes were enacted. And those are the four that directly impact student or educational services. I'm happy to answer any questions on those.
Any questions? Yes.
I'll just thank you for your work on this. It's like, it literally seems like we just voted on those sexual harassment policies.
That is
And now
correct.
so it's always a lot of catch up, so I appreciate it. And a lot of times we're already doing it, but then we just have to update our. Thank you.
I'd also like to point out when we are playing the yo-yo game, we're going to do it. No, we're not going to do it. There is a effect on all of the school boards and other institutions that have to respond to each of those, and all the work that goes into updating those policies, retraining people over and over again. This is hours and probably multi-millions of dollars across the country every time there's a knee-jerk response to one of this. So thank you for all your work to bring these up to date. Mr. Holcomb.
And I apologize, I should have brought this up before, but the changes to the curriculum 1 IGA, it changes our kindergarten from grade through grade 8 to grade 12. We don't have the 12. I understand that makes it more general, but we're only through grade 8.
That is correct. Thank you, President Holcomb. In the past, we have been specific of changing policy advisories from ASBA to be specific toward the elementary. And we're coming to see that copyright that we would get from ASBA or some of those changes that happen at the drop of a hat or, right after you approve one. And so we just felt we would go ahead and keep it through the K-12 realm, but we can certainly change it. That K-8 has been Madison specific, not ASBA. ASBA has had it K through 12.
No, and I understand that, but there's sometimes that the ASBA goes beyond or we disagree with what they do. And so that's what caught my eye is I do think it is appropriate, and I'm not trying to make more work, but I do think it is appropriate for us to make sure we've looked at the policies and make them appropriate to Madison. And also, you talked about taking the teachers. We're going to keep doing that, but in the policy it shows that the certified personnel are being taken, they're taking that out, and we are actually going to continue having them on our curriculum development, correct?
That is correct. We will continue to post for committees and solicit not only teacher participation, we also have a specific member from the Madison District Classroom Teachers Association, MDCTA, that we allow to be represented on those committees as well. And again, I just think having those varying stakeholders just leads to more robust conversations during the curriculum committees, and the products that we yield are better for it.
Well, and I appreciate that, but again, looking at the idea that, these policies, hopefully you want to have the policies, you have to make the changes that are required by statute. But I do feel that our policies should reflect what we do in Madison, in particular as the board changes and administrators change. That's one of those things I'd like to see maintained, and I think would be appropriate to be part of policy.
To that point, really quick, I think that the language that's being stricken talks about certified professional staff having obligations to serve on those. I think if we're talking about what our practice is, talking about how integral they are to the process, how they are partners. If we were going to think about a change to reflect that, I'd encourage us not to just accept the language that's being stricken, but to develop our own language about how we value that input. Second of all, I actually don't see a problem with putting pre-K through 12 in this instance, because the language here is about how this is essential to the maintenance of a high quality program from pre-K all the way through 12th grade. And I think that we have kids who are in accelerated programs. We're teaching courses that might be outside of the normal 8th grade realm. They might be reaching further than the normal 8th grade curriculum. So I think in this instance, where I hear you, making sure that we update things to be Madison specific in K-8 where appropriate, I think here K-12 actually makes sense in that language.
And I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that. But again, that's what caught my eye.
Yeah.
And making that, and for example, in the REACH program,
Yeah.
There's part of that curriculum that goes beyond to the 12th grade at times. But I also agree, I don't like the language that was stricken either, but I would like if we're really committed to having that input, and I think what you described is important, and I'm glad that we do that, I would like us to consider putting that in the policy so that we continue that on. At least give it
We can certainly give it some thought.
Give it some thought.
Board
if you
Member
would.
Holcomb, and it might be a sentence that says that Madison, something of an inclusive process where stakeholder voice is valued in making important curricular decisions. Certainly in Ms. Marshall's department, the what you have to go through to adopt is extensive and detailed and is a part of our procedures and protocol, and we have memorialized that for the future.
Right.
The other thing we could do is look at the regulation, which is how we implement policy, and make sure that there's a statement in the regulation that would address that.
And that may be the more appropriate place to put it. But I would like to, when we have that presented and we talk about those things, it's helpful. I'm not trying to keep this process going, but I'm always concerned that if, as the administration changes and the board changes, we have those sort of core foundational things in our policy and our regs.
Thank you, Mr. Holcomb. Thank you, Ms. Marshall. Dr. Lomeli.
Yes.
May I kick it to Dr. Lomeli for the
Yes.
rest of the items?
You may. Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Guerin, and cabinet, I have the next 6 policies. The first 2 policies are being changed based on statutory requirements, and it basically is adding language that requires prospective employees to certify whether they are awaiting trial or have been convicted or admitted to any criminal offenses that are related to sexual abuse. And so one policy is for professional staff, and the other policy, GDFA, is for our classified staff. So it's the same changes in both of those policies. The next two policies, AC and ACA, both of those policies have minor changes that include some clarifying language and basically removal of the reference to the 2024 amendment to Title IX that we just put in. So we are now taking policy GBK, and that change is to remove some language that is related to the amendment of Title IX. So there's some language being taken out. Policy GCO, in this policy, this is, we're updating the definition of inadequate classroom performance in the teacher evaluation. And if you recall, we recently brought the teacher evaluation instrument for approval. And so updating this definition in the policy brings that policy up to kind of match our new process, and really aligns, the new definition aligns with the spirit of the new changes in our evaluation system, and really working with staff in their professional growth.
Thank you, Dr. Lomeli. Questions from board members? Hearing none. Wow, we made it through 10 items fast. Well done, team. Next item on the agenda, and those will be back, as I mentioned before, those items will be back for a second read at a future date. And speaking of future dates, Dr. Guerin, future meetings.
President Thompson, members of the board, cabinet, and guests, we are racing to the finish. Of course, we have our May 13th end of the year recognition, May 19th and 20th are promotion ceremonies. We will be keeping you busy on the 20th with a midday board meeting, which will have some of our typical consent items. We'll be bringing back some second reads for your consideration of the policy work. We'll be bringing back the ASBA proposed agenda. Potentially another budget item. I do not believe the legislature will be done by then, so that will be stricken. If I was a betting woman, I would win that one.
I'll buy some raffle tickets on that
Okay.
one.
And we'll have a change order potentially for Madison Park and Rose Lane, another item for Rose Lane campus replacement. Our last meeting of the school year will be June 17th. We'll start off with an executive session that will include my evaluation and an emergency planning update. We are now allowed to do those in executive sessions. Then we will have a study session, which is with a strategic plan update and the Cognia results as well. Yes. Oh, sorry, I thought you were motioning to me. Okay, and a few other items are a lot of our annual items for consideration on the consent agenda. So we'll be keeping you busy for the rest of the school year.
Just a couple things. Any questions or comments or items from the board for Dr. Guerin to consider?
Oh, just a heads up for my fellow board members that I will be out of town the week of the 19th for our board meeting, and then sadly I will miss the graduation ceremonies that week.
Thank you, Ms.
Dr.
Gresham.
Lomeli has really something important to say. I don't know. I forgot something important.
Mr. Scott Thompson is in the audience, and I wondered if we wanted him to say anything.
Oh, I did in my comments, I promise.
Oh,
would he like
he
to
wants
talk?
to come up and say
I did
hi.
forget to do that.
I did.
You know, I'm just not good with lip reading and shadow puppets. I'm just not. Mr. Thompson,
Now that
would you
we've
come
made
up?
you wait for the entire meeting,
Got it all
Mr.
written out.
Thompson,
This is why I have a team.
we really are glad to have you here, even though we made you wait until 5 after 8 to speak.
I was promised. I'll do
And
not
you are
have long.
taking your time.
So when it becomes,
Welcome.
when I'm here and it's we're going to be short. No, I'm just kidding. No, thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm really looking forward to working with you all. And it was a pleasure to meet you this evening. I snuck out because I already had a comment on some of the renovations, but I built a lot of learning stairs, and I saw it in the slide, and I couldn't resist because the one thing that often gets not added is a railing at the top of the learning stairs. And the students and the staff will know what they are, but any visitor might think it's an actual step and they just kind of step off, and those are too high for you to actually take a step off, normally. So
Good catch.
I've had to put those railings in after the fact over and over again. So I don't know why architects keep doing this. They keep building these learning stairs with nothing at the top because they want people to sit up there, which I understand, but it also means you can walk off. So I was just looking at a safety item. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to sneak out while you guys were all talking, but I'm really looking forward to being here. I started in a smaller district. I know people are like, why are you, Mesa to Madison sounds like a kind of a journey, but I think the main reason I said in my interview, and I'll say it again, I'm here because I see a board and a superintendent and staff who are committed to students. And yes, I'm kind of in the twilight of my career, but I'd like to finish where that's the focus. So I'm really looking forward to working with you all. I'm trying to do the transition as honorably and on both sides as I can. And so I will be officially with you on July 1. Until then, I'll do my best to try to keep up with all the great work that's going on. Do you have any questions for me?
Any board member questions?
Just welcome to the family.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Looking forward to it.
Yes, and thank you for coming here tonight and staying through the meeting and making a safety catch too.
Yeah,
And you're not even on the clock.
I'm not on the clock, but I
You're good.
one little thing. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you. Okay, any other items? Thank you, Dr. Lomley, for that catch. You get an extra cookie. Yeah, and Mr. Thompson can have the rest of the cookies.
Yeah, take a couple for the drive back.
Okay, hearing no more questions or comments, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
There has been a motion by Ms. Gresham, a seconded by Mr. Holcomb. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. The meeting is adjourned.